Hey everyone, this is Wait a minute. No, that's no good. Hold that thought just there. So okay then, so I'm probably a little bit more recognisable now I'm out of my garden attire, but that kind of leads me quite nicely into an adventure that I'm going to be kind of starting, well, this week really, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, maybe I should journal this. I've got a couple of friends in the YouTube community got in touch with me and they said, yeah, definitely do it. It's kind of be like a kind of interesting series for people to follow, but the adventure doesn't really start here, and it certainly isn't here in Lagondon. So it's actually out here, outside, in my garden. And it's a really strange thing actually filming outside your house. I'm so used to doing it inside a room that it feels bizarre to be doing it outside and kind of, you know, hearing the birds and maybe some police sirens in the background or something like that, you know. So it's kind of a completely different setting for me. So what is exactly I'm doing? Come on, Greg, get to the point, will you? So when I kind of bought my house, and you know, I never envisaged ever even doing a Lego YouTube channel or anything like that, and I wasn't even into Lego at the time anyway, but I thought to myself, you know, as time's gone on and the channel's kind of grown quite nicely, and I've been working from home a lot more as well, I kind of thought to myself, how about having something like an outside office or something like that? And then I kind of thought to myself, oh, why don't I actually combine that and make myself kind of like a Lego cabin, and have it kind of partly as a bit of an office, you know, because you always use computers and screens and stuff like that, especially when I'm live streaming. And I kind of thought to myself, well, yeah, why don't I? So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be building, or having built for me, an outdoor office that's going to be kind of, well, 95% Lego room as well. So my garden is actually built over 3 sections. I've got kind of 2 large terraces, and then the majority of the garden is actually built on a slope, and it's not really usable. I can't really use it for anything at all. So I thought to myself, well, this would probably be a good spot to actually have the cabin installed. So if I show you this part here, bringing you around like this, you can see exactly where it's going to be going. So as you can see, the land kind of goes off into that direction, into woodland there. Sometimes it's kind of even hard to know if I'm actually still in my garden or in the woodland itself. But this here, this spot, is pretty much where it's going to go. And it's going to be going from over here to over here. So this is kind of pretty much where it's going to start from. And then it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meters along. Bring you around like so. And it's going 3 meters wide, so it's like 1, 2, 3, like that. So it'll be a fairly decent size. In a nutshell, 3 meters by 5 meters. So the first thing going down, of course, like all buildings, is going to be the foundations. Now, there's a couple of different ideas we had for this. First of all, we were going to do a complete kind of concrete base going right across, but that just seemed a waste of a lot of concrete because the building itself is actually going to be a wooden construction. And then the second idea was maybe piles. Maybe we use piling, and then that way the building is kind of like, you know, maybe a couple of feet off the ground, and that's good for like keeping away damp and stuff like that. But the one ultimately I decided to go on was actually normal foundations just around the side, so it's kind of coming down. It'll be kind of 30 centimeters wide and then 60 centimeters deep, and that's going to be filled with reinforced concrete. And all that surplus earth that they dig out, well, I'm going to be popping down here in the garden, because we're actually going to be creating a mound. And I've cleared all this space out here. Let me show you around here, because this was all quite overgrown recently. And over here, just earlier on today, I was actually taking out a load of rocks, because when this house was built, which was way back in the 1950s, it was, I think it was 1956, rockeries just seemed to be a bit of a thing then, but anyway, they're much less so now. But all these rocks I've got here were actually over here, So I've kind of taken those out, as you can see. I dug those out a little bit earlier on. So I'm going to be making this mound of earth, which is kind of useful because, as you can see, it's all very much downhill over here. So it'll be easy enough to bring it all down. And then we'll just pile the earth along here, over there, then seed it. And in the woodland itself, or the back end of the gardens, we'll actually grass over it. And you'll kind of never know it was ever there. So on top of the foundations then, there's going to be a layer of engineering bricks, and that's just to allow airflow around underneath the construction. And the construction itself, like I said, is going to be a wood construction, but that's going to be the frame itself. On the outside, I'm going to be using some cladding. I thought I'd go kind of ultra modern at first, and this is just a very, very smooth white, but as you can see, I kind of want it to fit in, and it really doesn't really with nature. You can see there's not really too much white going on out there. What white there is kind of man-made anyway, so that doesn't really work as far as I'm concerned, but I do like the smooth finish, and I'm definitely going to use that for a project in the future. Now the second one that I've gone for, and these by the way are made by this company called Hardy Plank, and they are really cool looking. I mean, it's very robust, very light, and it's a composite of cement as well. So this one's quite fashionable. It's a cedar finish they call it, which is effectively you've just got that grain going up and down it, which I kind of like. It's a little bit more traditional, but with a sort of twist of modern materials. And this one's grey. This is kind of like a slightly darkish bluish grey. Brilliant for you Lego Star Wars fans out there. But I don't know, I like it. I really do like it, but I kind of feel as though it's a bit fashionable at the moment to have grey and things. So I didn't go for that ultimately. In the end, what we went for is this. Something just a little bit more traditional. It is of course black. It's got the it's the same material. It's the composite cement. It's got the cedar finish, but it's just a bit more of a traditional outbuilding colour, and I think that goes really, really well with the garden as well. Kind of if you look there, even though there's not, I wouldn't say there was any black plants or anything like that in the garden, but what you have got is a lot of shadowing, of course, caused by all the trees and everything like that. So that kind of creates this darkness, this black. And with that, I kind of think it just fits in a little bit better than, say, the grey and certainly the white. So that's what's going to be attached to the outer walls. But what about inside the walls? Well, inside the walls, we're going to have a whole bunch of insulation going on there, because you kind of want to keep it warm, and I want to keep the kind of temperature of the building as kind of constant as possible. Now, I was thinking, for actual heating itself, well, maybe I could put radiators down there, because we're going to be running electric down here, and also as well the internet. I'm going to be running a giant Ethernet cable down here as well, because as good as Wi-Fi is these days, if I do want to stream down here, and I'm hoping that I can, then it's going to be a lot better if I have an Ethernet cable, and then I can kind of run any Wi-Fi systems off that. But going back to the heating on it and keeping it kind of a good kind of level of temperature, I've decided that I'm going to go for underfloor heating. So the great thing with underfloor heating is that you can kind of maximise the amount of floor space that you have, and what's going to happen with that is that there'll be a kind of a matting, if you like, electronic kind of matting laid down, and then there'll be a scree kind of put over the top of that as well, and then that will be left to settle, and then on top of that I can put some sort of vinyl flooring as well. Now I was thinking of going for a laminate flooring, but after doing a little bit of research, I think vinyl is actually better, and it's better simply because the heat transfers a lot easier through vinyl than what it does through laminate. So the choice of vinyl flooring that I've gone for is actually like sort of a cottage wood kind of effect. So it looks like a sort of traditional kind of wooden planks, and I thought that would look nice as well, because, well, there's a lot of wood going on behind me, and as you can see, I think it would just kind of fit in quite nicely as well. We've got the traditional black finish as well, but of course with the modern materials, and of course going for the same as well on the inside with the actual flooring itself. When you think about it, again, it's kind of like that traditional look, but with the twist of using modern materials. So the other thing to consider as well is the finish that I'm going to go for the inside. Now, I'm probably going to be filling it with all sorts of maybe IKEA furniture or something like that, because IKEA is pretty good for its shelving, but I might put some other sort of different softer furnishings in there as well. I kind of really fancy a kind of relaxing area, sort of an area you can sort of sit, maybe have a coffee and do a build, and also as well, you know, check out the view that's behind me as well. You know, because that's kind of one of the nice things about this. You imagine you're kind of building Lego or something like that, and you'd be building it on a stream for a few hours, and then you can stop, and then you can just kind of look out and enjoy the views. And that's kind of one of the big reasons why I wanted to do it down here as well, because I can't really use this for too many different things. I might one day put some decking down here and stuff like that, because the sun will kind of shine down here, because the sun kind of comes up across like so and goes over, and that's all fine and well and stuff like that, but that's kind of way in the future. I kind of want to more really focus on the here and now and how I can get this building up and running as quick as possible. So the inside, once plastered, I'll be painting that probably something like brilliant white, or maybe just an off-white or something like that, and that's going to be good for using as a studio as well, because you kind of need a lot of good light bouncing around, and well, there's not going to be any windows in there. And the reason I went for that is simply because, well, Lego doesn't particularly get on well with light, and it goes kind of yellowy and just off colour and things like that, and I didn't really fancy that. So I thought it'd be easier just to have like big windows. So where it's kind of 5 meters across, the actual doors themselves, I can do them at 3 meters, so they're pretty big, and that will let in a lot of light as well. And again, it will kind of maximise the view that I'm going to get from the garden as well, which I think will look really, really good. So with that, with the IKEA, I'm going to put some softer furnishings in there. I might go to sort of Oliver Bonus or something like that and get some stuff from there. But I kind of want that area where I can kind of relax, have a coffee, get up, do a stream, make some builds there. So I kind of want it to be a bit of a one-stop shop. And also as well, it kind of maximises the fact that I can get the Lego out of the house, which between you and me kind of pleases my wife quite a lot. So the nice thing with this change then that's going to be kind of happening to the channel is that it can be a little bit more spontaneous, because, you know, quite a lot of people, they just do a lot of videos whereby, you know, some new news comes out and stuff like that, and they kind of just talk about that. And I kind of always seem to miss the boat on that, because my room and stuff like that, where I'm at the moment, it takes a little bit of time to kind of turn it around. You know, it's not really that one-stop shop for doing everything. Well, actually it is, but I've got to turn the room around. It's not, you know, if I want to use it for doing speed builds or something like that, then I have to set up it as a studio. If I want to do a live stream, then again, I've got to set it up for being kind of useful for being live streamed. So that can be a bit annoying and really, really time consuming. And because of that, you can't be as spontaneous as you want to be. And well, when you're not spontaneous, I kind of find it just a little bit constraining when it comes to creativity. And I kind of want an area in this room whereby I can stream, and of course I can actually build Lego at the same time. So that's going to be interesting, kind of figuring that out. Now I've got a plan of, roughly speaking, where I want things to go, but for a while, when I do move into it, I'm kind of live in it for a little while and just kind of see how it kind of feels and how it works and how the light works and how the sun works with it as well. Because like I say, the sun comes up in the morning and you'll see it down there, but in the evening it'll be darker, and you kind of got to use that to your advantage as well, especially when it comes to filming and things like that. So that's going to be quite a different change for me as well, but it's a nice change and it's an exciting change, and I'm looking forward to that. So the nice thing with this is I can definitely be able to push out more content. But one of the great things, one of the big things that I want to be really kind of, how can I put this, rebooting, I suppose, is Legondan. I mean, I've done one update on Legondan, and that's about it. I've kind of sold the vision of what I want it to be and why I want it to even be. But in all honesty, it takes up a lot of time. It really does. And with this, I'll be able to focus much, much more on actually giving good content on a Lego city, and that's really where I want the channel to be. I mean, I want it doing mocks as well, and that's the beauty of having a city. You can do you can install mocks, you can make up your own stuff, and also we can make up other people's stuff. I've got my friend Tech, you know, Thomas from over at Tech Productions. He's creating a cinema at the moment from you know, friend sets and things like that, and that's kind of thinking like, you know, I could sort of take people's ideas or people's designs and put them in there as well, which I think would be great, especially from a community point of view and things like that. And also as well, I can do live streams and we can do like city updates at the same time, so I think that's kind of exciting. So for me, it kind of opens the doors to all sorts of possibilities, and if you've got any ideas as well, please do let me know down in the comments below. So what I've got here is some old recycled boxes. That's just to give me a little bit of height. I've got this one here that's on its side, and that's just to basically give a bit of cover for this, which is a kind of tiny, small camera. And what that's going to do is that's going to take photographs every sort of 10 to maybe 20 seconds. And then over the course of a day and then a week, you'll kind of see the building kind of coming together and kind of raising up from the foundations. Now I reckon all in it's probably going to take about 3, maybe 4 weeks. I mean, this is England for a start, so you're never quite sure what the weather's doing, and it's a little bit crazy at the moment. It's sunny one second and then very sort of blustery and probably rainy the next. So, you know, you've got to kind of factor all that in there. But what I need to do is run some electric down, because this actually runs out of power after about an hour and 15 minutes of taking photographs. So what I've got to do now is run some electric down the garden all the way down to here to give that some power, and you'll be able to watch it coming together over the course of the next few weeks. So there we go, there's our power supply running down behind all this garden equipment here, and this is our main power supply to it here. And I'm going to waterproof that from the elements a little bit later. Then running up here is our power cable running there into the camera. That'll take a photograph every 10 seconds. That will give us our time lapse, and you never know, you might even see some animals coming up here throughout the day when there's nobody about. So that's some of my plans and ideas on what's going to be coming up from London Bridge in the next few weeks. It's a bit of a project, that's for sure. It's going to be kind of quite time consuming as well, but don't worry, there'll still be the odd video coming up from me, and certainly London Calling every Friday as well. But, you know, let me know how you feel about it as well. I'm going to be sharing this kind of, well, journey with you as well. It's going to be all kind of vlogged, and let me know how you feel about me doing more vlogs as well. And hopefully, along the process of doing more vlogs, it kind of improves the way I do them as well, because I know, like I said before, I'm kind of fascinated by this kind of format of videos. But let me know if you kind of like to see a few more behind the scenes kind of videos. Now, between you and me, I'm off for a barbecue now, so you know what, if you enjoyed this video, then please do give it a thumbs up, and you can follow the channel on Instagram and Twitter. And if you happen to be new around here, then why not hop on and subscribe and share this journey with me and become a big part of the LBB family. I'll leave you now with some videos that I think you might like.